other stuff, some stuff that he think I don't know about, or he think he got one up on me. I don't know. He think he got a mole somewhere. I told him I got a
boxing world has been turned upside down. With shocking news, Tank Davis has been taken into federal custody over allegations of match fixing in his controversial fight against Lamont Roach Jr. just days after whispers of a possible investigation began. The situation has taken an even darker turn.
Hopefully the commission gets this right. It was a bummer not being declared the winner on a technicality that could be righted, that wrong could be righted, obviously, in different ways.
It all started with reports that the fight's referee, Steve Willis, had provided key information supporting claims that the fight was rigged. Fans and analysts had already questioned how the bout ended in a majority draw, despite Roach seemingly doing enough to win. Now, with federal authorities stepping in, it looks like those suspicions were more than justified.
I think Lamont Roach, I think he landed more punches throughout the fight. I think Tank was used to, figuring it out, having that slow start, figuring it out around the third, fourth round. And I think
the final bell rang, controversy erupted. Roach had outworked Davis in multiple rounds, and many believed he should have won outright. But then came the ninth round, the moment that set off alarm bells. Davis suddenly took a knee in the middle of the action, completely out of nowhere. Referee Willis began the count, but then, midway through, changed his mind and waved it off, ruling it wasn't a knockdown. That single decision altered the entire fight. If Willis had stuck to the count, Roach would have won the round 10-8, which could have been enough to secure victory on the scorecards. Instead, the ruling favored Davis, leading to a draw, leaving Roach stunned and fans furious.
What's your thoughts when you first heard that?
That they wasn't gonna overturn it?
Yeah.
I mean, I expected that. I don't really see them doing that. Tank is too big of an attraction. New York, I felt like
Davis's explanation for taking the knee was bizarre, to say the least. He claimed his freshly styled hair had too much grease, and as he started sweating, it dripped into his eyes and burned, forcing him to kneel. The excuse was widely mocked, with fans calling it one of the most ridiculous things they'd ever heard from a fighter. Critics pointed out that fighters get sweat and blood in their eyes all the time, yet none just decide to kneel in the middle of a match. Roach was livid, saying, "If you take a knee, that's a knockdown. Those are just the rules." The ref started counting, so why did he stop? His team wasted no time filing an official complaint with the New York State Athletic Commission, demanding a full review of the fight and the officiating. But the controversy didn't end there.
He take a knee. You need to lose like 10-8 that round at least, no? And plus the corner go up and put a towel in the face. That's a disqualification for sure. I'm talking about the rules.
What made things even worse was a chilling comment Davis reportedly made to Roach on fight night, telling him, "They ain't gonna give it to you." At the time, most assumed Davis was simply referring to boxing politics, where the aside fighter often gets the benefit of the doubt. But now, in light of the match-fixing allegations, that statement has taken on a whole new meaning. Did Davis already know the outcome before the fight even started? Was the result predetermined? These are the questions now fueling a full-scale federal investigation.
So to me, I thought I won the fight clearly. I thought I won a close fight. I thought I won a very competitive fight.
Okay.
I'm not saying I steamrolled him or whatever.
Authorities stepped in after Roach's legal team brought in top attorneys who pushed for a deeper investigation into the fight. They pointed out suspicious betting activity leading up to the match, with an unusual amount of money being placed on a draw. A draw is one of the rarest outcomes in boxing, so the sudden spike in bets raised major red flags. Investigators began looking into whether inside information had been leaked to bettors who knew ahead of time that the fight would end in a draw. Then came the biggest shock. Referee Steve Willis reportedly provided crucial information to authorities.
It should have been a knockdown, one. So that's why I'm yelling at the referee, like, keep counting, like, you tripping, keep counting, that's a knockdown. Because if y'all didn't notice, he started.
While the full details of what Willis said haven't been made public, sources suggest he confirmed that outside influences impacted his decisions during the fight. That revelation was enough for federal agents to move in on Davis. His arrest has sent shockwaves through the boxing world. Davis, who has had his fair share of legal troubles in the past, now finds himself in what could be the most serious situation of his career.
He wasn't coming to lay down. I've been knowing Lamont since we was kids, so we came up in amateurs together. So I knew Lamont was serious. He was.
The allegations turn out to be true. Davis could be facing more than just a suspension. He could be hit with criminal charges that could land him behind bars. Boxing insiders are already debating how this will impact his career. Some believe this could mark the beginning of the end for Davis, while others think his powerful promotional team, led by Al Heyman and premier boxing champions, will do everything they can to protect him and keep him in the ring. But even if he avoids jail time, his reputation might never recover.
Like when my back is against the wall or against the ropes, it's like, it's time to show up. So it wasn't really hard for me to focus because all I had to do was...
Social media has erupted with reactions as fighters and boxing personalities weigh in on the scandal. Devin Haney, one of Davis's biggest rivals, wasted no time mocking him, posting, "Damn, first he fakes injuries to duck fights, now he's fixing fights. Ain't no way y'all still rocking with this dude." Oscar De La Hoya, a longtime critic of Davis, tweeted, "I've been saying it for years, Tank is protected. The truth always comes out." Even veteran boxing analyst Teddy Atlas, known for his no-nonsense takes, called the situation a disgrace to the sport.
I'm still rooting with him. I saw the negativity and people, critics talking, but I think he's one hell of a fighter, and I think he's still the...
To make things even worse, Davis's name has been removed from several boxing rankings. Ring Magazine officially dropped him from their pound-for-pound list, replacing him with David Benavidez. The backlash is already hitting his career hard, and if the investigation uncovers more evidence, things could spiral even further. There's already talk that the New York State Athletic Commission may revisit the fight and possibly void the result entirely. If that happens, Roach could be declared the rightful winner. Not only would Davis lose his spot as one of the top fighters in the sport, but he could also be stripped of his championship belts.
They reversed the result of your fight.
Yeah.
Should they reverse the result of that fight as well?
It just depends. Like if that changes the whole fight, if that gives Roach a victory, give him the victory. That's how you keep the integrity of the sport, right? That's why they suspended me, right, to keep the integrity of the sport.
Davis remains in custody awaiting his upcoming court hearing. The real question now is whether he will battle his way back, or if this moment will finally end his career if federal prosecutors gather sufficient evidence to charge him with match fixing. He might face not only a ban from boxing, but also actual jail time. Some observers are already comparing this to previous boxing scandals, drawing parallels to how Floyd Mayweather was once accused of manipulating judges and referees during his career. But while Mayweather never faced anything this severe, Davis might not be as fortunate. If the charges stick, he could end up being known as the biggest scandal in modern boxing history indeed right now.
He caught me with a good shot, but it was times that I sat in there with him and I'm like, damn, this guy like super slow. Well, not super slow, but he's slow, and I could have took advantage of. I think I was boxing too much in the beginning, and when I failed.
Dana Davis is in more trouble than anyone imagined, and now the boxing world is divided over whether he can make a comeback or if his career is beyond repair. Rolly Romero, one of Davis's former opponents, believes Tank can still turn things around in a rematch, though his comments are not without controversy. Speaking at the ring, Romero stated that Davis has the ability to adapt and win in a rematch, noting that Roach's performance was so unexpected that even Roach himself might have been surprised. That remark alone raised questions. Was Romero suggesting that Roach got lucky? And many are left wondering.
You lost that fight. I mean, the only reason they gave you the fight was because you would make more money as a champion, but there's no way it's a draw, and they didn't call the knockdown. If they called a knockdown, you lost.
Clearly outperformed Davis and would have secured a win if not for the questionable officiating. Now, with Davis facing a federal investigation for match fixing, Romero's remarks carry even more weight. The way Romero described Roach's performance makes it seem like a once-in-a-lifetime display, something Roach can never repeat. But was it really so unique? Roach did more than just land a few lucky punches. He dominated much of the fight, made Davis uneasy, and exposed vulnerabilities that had never been truly challenged before. Romero's attempt to minimize this might be his way of covering up his own loss to Davis. After all, if Roach, a fighter never considered elite, could trouble Davis so much, what does that reveal about Romero, who was knocked out by Davis in the 6th round of their 2020 bout? This loss has sparked debate among boxing experts and fans alike.
That people want to discredit Tank, he's still and pound for pound fighter.
Yeah. What do you think about that fight that happened? You thought it was just an off night, or?
Everybody has an off night. Everybody has an off night. Shit, I had a night with Cruz.
Even more controversial was the way Romero discussed the knee incident. He said that none of the punches landed on him while talking about Davis's strange decision to kneel mid-fight. That is a damning claim, especially since Davis had argued he went down because sweat was dripping into his eyes. If Romero, a fellow boxer, openly admits that not one punch connected, then why did Davis fall at all? That question remains unanswered, and more importantly, why did the referee start the count then abruptly stop? Romero himself admitted that if the knee had been ruled a knockdown, Davis would have lost. That fact alone shows how pivotal that single moment was in shaping the fight's outcome. But let's be honest, and that's clear.
Punches are being thrown, it has to be a knockdown. I've heard some people saying, oh, that, you know, he should be disqualified, he went back to the corner, I don't buy that, to be honest with you. I mean, I think that's a warning, but it's a bit of a bizarre situation. For me, like, there was a lot of people in boxing.
What Romero didn't mention is as crucial as what he did say. He skipped over the fact that Davis's name is now under a federal probe for fight fixing, and he didn't bring up how Davis allegedly told Roach before the match, "They ain't going to give it to you." He dismissed the growing theory that the unusual betting on a draw was more than just coincidence. Instead, he concentrated on the idea that Davis simply had a bad night and would make adjustments. But how can Davis even prepare for a rematch when he could be facing criminal charges? That is the real question, and many wonder.
Hey, can't even see who it is. Hey, who is the dude? Who is the dude?
And that right there.
Ryan Garcia, another former opponent of Davis, also weighed in on the rematch debate. Speaking with East News, Garcia said he believes Davis will win the second fight, adding that Tank simply underestimated Roach and expected him to give up. But that raises a bigger question: why did Davis expect Roach to fold? Most likely because he knew something the rest of us didn't. If Davis went into the fight believing the decision would go his way no matter what, then of course he wouldn't have fought with urgency. He wouldn't have trained the same way. And that's exactly what we saw. Davis fought Roach like he had nothing to worry about. He didn't take Roach seriously, and when Roach kept coming at him, Davis looked confused, almost lost. It was one of the worst performances of his career. And Garcia claiming Davis was simply caught off guard doesn't really explain it.
You think it was a draw? No. I thought Lamont won. Who you thought won? Lamont.
You thought Lamont won? By how many rounds?
I don't know.
What makes this even messier is that Roach and Davis had a $250,000 bet before the fight. Davis bet that he would knock Roach out, but since the fight ended in a draw, it's unclear if Davis ever paid up. If he hasn't, that adds another layer to the controversy. Davis was willing to put up six figures on a result that never happened, despite allegedly having inside knowledge of how the fight would go. That alone raises major red flags. And if Davis really thought he was going to get the knockout, why did he fight with so little urgency? Why did he take a knee? None of it makes sense unless you start looking at the bigger picture. Good news for Roach is that a rematch is already in the works. Whether it happens in 2024 or 2025, both sides have expressed interest in running it back. But the truth is, the rematch will only be fair if the corruption surrounding the first fight is fully exposed. If Davis is found guilty of match fixing, how could anyone trust that the second fight will be any different? And more importantly, should Davis even be allowed to fight again if he manipulated the outcome of a professional fight? Shouldn't he be banned from the sport? The worst part of all this is that it's hurting boxing as a whole. The sport has already struggled with bad judging, shady business deals, and fights that take way too long to happen.
We will never see that fight happen again. It just will not happen. Gervonta Tank Davis doesn't like hard fights. It's that simple. We've seen it over and over. He fought a Ryan Garcia drained. He fought a very inexperienced Rolly Romero. He will not fight Devin Haney. He will not fight Shakur. He will not fight Pitbull Cruz again.
One of boxing's biggest stars, Gervonta Davis, is caught up in a match-fixing scandal. It's another major blow to the sport's credibility. This would be even worse than the controversies surrounding Floyd Mayweather's handpicked opponents or Canelo Alvarez's questionable scorecards. This isn't just bias or bad judging, this is straight-up corruption. And if Davis is guilty, it proves that boxing has a much bigger problem than just one fighter. Meanwhile, Davis is still trying to do damage control. Even though he's in custody, his team is working overtime to change the story, trying to convince people that he's being unfairly targeted. But let's be real, Davis has been in way too many controversies for this to just be bad luck. From his past legal issues to run-ins with the law to now a federal investigation, it's becoming a pattern, and boxing fans are getting tired of it right now. Davis is fighting the battles won in court and won in the court of public opinion.
I must say, good enough.
Can you describe what the feeling was like in the ring? And was it to get the towel out, to get the burn out of your eyes, or what was going on? And
I didn't want to get caught. I didn't want to get caught while my eyes was burning. And you know, like, you can get knocked out like that. So I'd rather take the
losing both. Even if he gets out and the rematch happens, his reputation is permanently damaged, no matter what. There will always be an asterisk next to his name if he somehow wins the rematch. Critics will say it was another fix. Lamont Roach Jr. may have been robbed the first time, but he's won something even bigger: the public's respect. If there's one fighter who has come out of this mess looking better than ever, it's Roach. He was the underdog, the guy who wasn't supposed to win, but he exposed one of boxing's biggest names. And now, no matter what happens in the rematch, people will remember that night when he made Gervonta Davis look beatable.
You know it's time.
Can't wait.
You know it's time.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
You know it's time.
Can't wait.
You ready?
Rematch is almost set, and this time, the stakes are even higher. After their controversial first fight ended in a majority draw, Roach Jr.'s promoter, Gary Jonas, has confirmed that negotiations are nearly finalized. While he didn't reveal all the details, Jonas made it clear that the fight is practically locked in. In his words, "In my mind, it's a done deal, but there are formalities." That statement alone has sent shockwaves through the boxing world. Fans are now just waiting for an official announcement. But one thing is clear: the rematch is happening.
Nah, to be honest, I've really made it competitive, for real, to be honest. But for sure, Lamont's a great fighter. He got the skills, like I said.
Jonas also pointed out a major factor that could change everything this time: Davis's mindset. You got Gervonta, who's probably going to be angry, probably woken up, probably more focused. That's a big shift from where Davis was mentally before the first fight. Back then, he had been talking about retirement, acting like he had nothing left to prove, and barely promoting the fight. Now, even though his undefeated record is still intact, his aura of invincibility has been shattered. This time, Davis has no choice but to come in fully locked in, because anything less, and Roach Jr. could do what he almost did last time: walk away as the WBA lightweight champion.
We literally saw the mental breakdown of Tank. Like, again, if you got that elite level, why, you know what you saw. He was intimidated by Roach, and it was like baffling to see. Why was he moving? Because to me, he was intimidated by Roach. To me,
of course, it wouldn't be a Gervonta Davis fight without controversy. Their first fight wasn't just close, it was filled with questionable decisions. The biggest one came in the 9th round when Davis suddenly took a knee for no clear reason. Referee Steve Willis began counting, as if it was a knockdown. But then, after some pleading from Davis, he stopped mid-count and let the fight continue. If Willis had finished counting, Roach Jr. would have won by unanimous decision and become the new champion. Instead, the fight went the full distance and ended in a drawn outcome. That left Roach Jr. and his team absolutely furious.
About Tank, you can't count on Tank to get tired, because his conditioning is out of this fucking world. He can fight 20, 30 rounds if he wants to. 12 rounds ain't shit. Tank can go. So, yeah, Lamont, he didn't do enough early.
Roach's team wasted no time filing an appeal with the New York State Athletic Commission, arguing that the knee should have been ruled a knockdown. The commission admitted that Willis had made a mistake, but ultimately refused to overturn them. Result: that only made things worse, reinforcing what many already suspected, that the system is rigged in favor of fighters like Davis. Roach Jr. took to social media to set the record straight, responding to rumors that he was suing over the result. He wrote, "Look, man, I'm going to tell y'all straight up, I ain't sue nobody. STFU. My team submitted an appeal on my behalf. What does it look like not having a team that doesn't pull the trigger on some SHT they know was wrong?" That post alone says everything about Roach Jr.'s mindset going into the rematch. He believes he was robbed, and now he's coming back with even more motivation. The first time, he wasn't supposed to stand a chance, he was just meant to be another name on Davis's record. But now, he's the man who exposed Gervonta Davis, and this time, he's coming to finish the job. What do you think? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates. See you in the next one.